Okay, yes, you're in the right place. We're talking about doom scrolling, some solutions for it. But the thing of it is, it's not about what you should do. It's about experimenting until you find some tweaks that allow you to get it past the doom scroll as a slot machine, right?
The algorithms that they've incorporated function on the most powerful way to keep people doing a behavior, or an animal for that matter, is intermittent random reward, or random intermittent reward, that you don't know when you're going to hit the jackpot. So you're scrolling, and then you see something. Then what happens is you start getting the system working for that next dopamine hit that you don't know when it's going to come. It's just like gambling.
Because it gets you, and it's all been designed. The whole thing is, I found some different ways, some experiments you can try. I'm not saying this is the way. I've tried a few things that work for me, and I found it in a way that makes it so the doom scrolling actually turns into a superpower. What I mean by that is creation at its core, I believe, is spiritual. That we're here to create. And when you recognize that, when you have that within you, or you utilize creating, painting, drawing, writing, creating videos, whatever it might be, that act of creation, you're actually alchemizing what's in you as your soul purpose shines through more.
If you keep people in survival, and you keep them in fear, and you keep them at war, and you keep them angry, and you keep them in pain, and you keep them confused, and you can control their attention by controlling their emotions, we may not make it, as a species.
Our creativity has been sidelined, and the more that we use it and create as an expression of what's inside of us, the unique parts inside of us, which come out in our creativity in various ways, which is also attached to our spirituality. It's all an expression. It's a mirror of everything else. It goes through you and then becomes part of the collective. And the thing of it is, we're not here to individually get free. We're here as a collective to actualize or alchemize all this together so that the medicine of each individual expression is a collective medicine to the whole.
I think it's collective networks of observers that determine reality. And I don't think it's the number of people. I think it's the most coherent in heart and brain that begin to produce effects. Coming of a new consciousness has to be a collective. It's not one person. It's a collective group of people. And I believe that you get enough people collectively coming together that we can hopefully steer it in a different direction.
So how can you turn doom scrolling into superpower? It has to do with creating an outlet for all of that input, because eventually, like a battery, that just gets only input and no output, it explodes, and you're just going to explode in various ways. The thing is, a lot of people rush to teach something they heard, and when you haven't digested it yet, it doesn't land the same. It doesn't have that same authentic resonance. If you look at the frequency of different emotions, like depression is a lower emotion than, let's say, love. And so if you look at that in the quote-unquote hierarchy of things, in terms of resonance going up or down, authenticity is the highest above everything else, which is amazing. So that's where taking different steps to have the ideas not only go through you and word them out differently. When you come upon something that sparks your interest and you're like, ooh, I want to share that, instead of just sharing it, free write on the idea, why does it spark you, and so on, but just jot down a few notes. Try to put it in your own words, because in that way, it moves the idea through you. Combine them together with other ideas, because honestly, just like life itself, when you're coming upon different ideas, they synchronistically work together. Meaning you think, oh, I came upon this idea, but then this happened to me, and then this idea and that idea. When you start jotting all those notes down and you start reviewing them on a weekly, monthly, and yearly basis, and lifetime really, you start to see where they actually are synchronistically aligned. They're all like clues from the universe that come at you. So this is where you intentionally create from that wellspring. And when you do this authentically, you're actually expressing a bit of wisdom to the collective, and that collective wisdom comes together as medicine, so to speak. It's not like you're doing it for an audience. You're doing it as an expression of authenticity that comes through you because it's a bit of wisdom that you've embodied. You're not just regurgitating frameworks or spiritual messages that sound like you know what you're talking about. You're actually embodying and then having it move through you and learning from what's there. And then when you share it, it's not just the words you use, but how you resonate with what's being said. And it becomes a lot more obvious when that happens than if you're just copying and pasting something, or you're just regurgitating words, just basically verbalizing a script. Nothing wrong with scripts because they can be exact and wording can be important. It's just that oftentimes scripts bypass the wisdom that's actually there. And so it's important, I think, when you're creating, not just to rely upon words, but to rely upon the energy and the resonance for which you say them. I think this is amazing because instead of feeling depleted at the end of a session, looking on Instagram and so on and so forth, instead, you feel rejuvenated because you've come across ideas, and instead of having them just passively sit in you, you alchemize them further and you use them. And so then scrolling becomes something more. You end up moving doom scrolling into research, and you look at the person's YouTube channel, you look at some of the other stuff they've done, and you connect the dots a little bit deeper. So that's the whole idea behind this. You basically are flipping doom scrolling from being a negative thing to being a positive element that can actually supercharge your own creative flow. Because you're not scrolling to escape, you're scrolling to ignite your creativity and ignite your further passions and scroll deeper to wisdom rather than turning off your brain and mindlessly scrolling. The more that your attention is hijacked by all the doom and gloom, the more you're going to basically subvert your own soul purpose. The more that you go within and you gravitate to those things that feed that soul purpose and create from that, the more you're going to resonate, help yourself and the collective move forward to the now and the future that is just amazing. And I think it's totally possible. There's only a certain amount of people. Some say it's 144,000, the magic 144,000. Whatever it might be, it is more of a tipping point of consciousness of different people that can basically pull us out of these doldrums, this state that many see us in. I don't believe we are in that state. I think we are being hijacked and our attention is being pulled away. But if you step out into nature, into the world, you'll see that we are actually still fine. The earthquakes and all the other happenings, like in nature, that's not nature. That's not natural. And I think at a deeper level, all of us can recognize that, whether we can prove it or not. It's very suspect. So if this resonates with you, I do have a free school group, which you can go to by using this QR code that comes up right here. Or there's a link in the description. And basically that free group, it's where we get together as like-minded people, share ideas, and really start to create with a resonance and an authority that is from within rather than from without, and that feeds all of us to get to the next level, to really actualize soul purpose. And it's so important right now to have that in place to offset all the chaos and everything else that's going on. So highly encourage you to check out the group. If you found this video helpful, be sure to give it a like. Thanks a lot for watching. See you next time.